Hello, and welcome back to the RWBY fanfiction reading of RoRaWoK, or raindrops on roses and whiskers on kittens. Anyways, let's go to part 5. Hopefully we can get this done hopefully we can get this fanfiction done. Well, not technically done because this one isn't finished. I didn't mention that before, but this isn't technically finished, so we will be doing more, but hopefully we can get like what's currently available done in the 4, or in, just 4 parts. Anyways, let's move on. Chapter 5. What's the pressure? Weiss hadn't been quite sure how to react when RWBY had started texting her at about 4 p.m. Weiss, help me, I need a dress. No, why, Weiss? And inevitably, the next morning, they ended up in the shopping mall together, trying to find something RWBY could wear. Weiss's father hadn't allowed her to go to Vale recreationally again, so she and RWBY had spent a good quarter of an hour figuring out the best way for RWBY to get to Alice, finding the right bus route. Taking the train suited Weiss because there was a station right by her house, but most of the bus stops were in more suburban areas or the shopping centers. The bus was cheaper, too. RWBY was a bulky gray hoodie, pretty damaged jeans, and Converse, a stark contrast to Weiss's neat button-up shirt, skirt, stockings, and flats. If it hadn't already been clear to Weiss that finding RWBY some formal dress would be a challenge, it certainly was now, especially because RWBY was on a low budget. Are you sure you don't have a dress already? Weiss checked. Did your school have a semi-formal? Yeah, but that dress was actually Yang's, and I managed to get this sparkling grape juice stuff all over it. Okay, never mind. Worth a try. I think you can get away with having a knee-length dress since we're all a little younger. I hope so, RWBY muttered. Though technically we'd be looking for something that goes to the floor. I don't know. We'll see what we can find when we get there. RWBY just sighed. A shop Weiss had in mind was actually one that Coco had told her about. A good friend of hers, Velvet, worked there. The store, Red Shift Outfitters, had a big range of dresses, from casual, more inexpensive things to I'm meeting the queen today type dresses. Weiss hoped RWBY would find something she liked. Hey, Weiss? RWBY glanced at her, smiling shyly. Don't think I just because I don't want to wear a dress. Don't think I don't want to spend time with you. It's good to see you. Weiss's stomach did a flip. Okay. See, it's always like I kind of expect like sort of minor errors in stories, like, just like spelling things and stuff like that, kind of like getting the wrong word in there, but like when you just like add an extra word, it's like it doesn't, it's like, I don't know. Her shouldn't be in there, in case you didn't realize that one. Well, in case you didn't realize that one. So, heat, not her, rushing to her cheeks. Damn it. I thought I'd gotten over that already. Thank you. RWBY grinned. You're welcome. They finally reached Red Shift. There were a few people milling around inside, but even considering the fact that it was quite early still, it was pretty empty. Looking around, Weiss could instantly see some potential dresses for RWBY, and though she already had one herself, there were a couple that caught her eye that she could really see herself in. Hey, Weiss, look at this. Weiss glanced over her shoulder to see RWBY pulling a black dress with red lining off the rack. Weiss, this is cool. It was cool. It was a deep charcoal, almost black long sleeves, red trim, and red lacing across the front. RWBY held it up against herself, awkwardly craning her neck so that her eye wouldn't get stabbed out by the coat hanger. And look, I bet it fits me too. Do you think it'd go well with the cape and hood? Weiss nodded. Probably. It's not right for the party, though. Aw, can I get it anyway? Of course, Weiss laughed, if you can pay for it. RWBY's eyes widened, and she searched for the price tag. Oh no, Weiss, it's too expensive. I can't get this, not in addition to another dress. The heiress took her hand, pulling her away from the dress. We'll see if you have much left over later, she smiled, adding as an afterthought, I might be able to help you pay if you really want it. RWBY's eyes widened. What? No, you can't do that. Weiss rolled her Weiss rolled her eyes, like she and Co would miss the cash. We'll talk about it later. For now, let's just look for something you can wear for the vital masquerade, okay? Okay. Or something. What just happened? Oh, yeah. Okay, Ruby smiled. That was nice of you, though. Weiss blushed. She still hadn't gotten used to being called nice. It was a good feeling. Not as nice as you look in your dress, she shot back humor. Not as nice as you'll look in yours, Ruby replied, butting shoulders with Weiss. However, she didn't seem to know her own strength. Weiss lost her balance, crashing in the display. Her heart sinking as the fabric and coat hangers came crashing down on top of her. She rolled to the side to avoid the stand itself covering her head. It fell barely an inch away from her. Jesus. Weiss, I'm so sorry. Are you okay? Weiss blinked a couple of times, finally seeing Ruby standing over her, one hand outstretched. Weiss took it and Ruby pulled her up. Weiss was touched by the deep concern in those silver eyes. I'm fine. Their hands connected for perhaps a little too long, and Weiss found herself just staring at her cinnamon roll of a girlfriend. She was snapped out of her lack of coherent thoughts by a harsh voice. Hey, you two! Weiss and Ruby sprang away from each other, the former's face bright red, and Ruby was a little pink. The tall girl was approaching them, towering over both of them, with smooth bag. Weiss swallowed. Oops. Ruby spoke first. Weiss was in a bit of a panic. I'm so sorry. It was an accident. We can help pick everything up. The girl rolled her eyes. Forget it. You two need a dress? Going on a date? There was something in Maya's tone that Weiss couldn't quite describe, but she didn't like it. Her embarrassment quickly turned to wariness. Ruby blushed a little more deeply. No, it's for the Vital Festival. Ah, I see. So out of you two, who's taking who? Weiss folded her arms, lifting her chin. We're here to buy a dress, not to be scrutinized because we happen to like each other. Thanks. Maya rolled her eyes. Fine, I guess I'll let Velvet deal with you guys, she said, turning on her heel, walking away. Weiss clenched her fist, watching her leave to find Velvet. The nerve. They waited in awkward silence for a couple of minutes. Eventually, Velvet appeared. Sorry about Maya, she said quickly. She's alright once you get to know her. She can actually be really sweet. Teasing you like that means she sees you as a potential friend. Like her best friend's Jewish, and she always teaches her constantly on the fact that she died for a penny this one time. Twice Schnee, right? And Ruby Rose. Weiss frowned. Okay, sounds fake, but okay. Yeah, that's us. Coco recommended this place. Velvet smiled. She texted me this morning. Do you have any idea what you're looking for? Or a dress? Weiss rolled her eyes. It's for the Schnee masquerade. The rabbit faunus nodded. Alright, so something fairly fancy. Have you seen anything you like? Nothing fancy enough, I don't think. Right, do you want me to leave you browse for a while? Ruby nodded. That might be best. Velvet smiled, then moved away. Weiss's gaze scanned the racks for something suitable. She stopping whenever she saw red. Ruby likes red, right? What? Hey, Weiss, what about this one? Weiss looked around to see Ruby pulling a dark gray one with an open back off the rack. Weiss paused, examining it. That's good, but your bra would show. Oh, right, never mind. They continued to look through the dresses. Weiss found a few that might work. There was a coppery one with caps, sleeves, and a black waistband, which Ruby didn't mind, though it was a little more expensive than the others. A long red one, that Ruby was a touch worried she'd trip over, but looked nice. And a white one with a gold insignia along the skirt, which wasn't bad, though Ruby found it a little fancy schmancy. Ruby, I'm happy to pay for the copper one. No, you can't. Wait. The girl darted through the store, something apparently catching her eye. Weiss hastily followed her, accidentally bumping into a couple of customers. Apologizing quickly to see Ruby with a knee-length black dress with a flared skirt, and Weiss grinned with white roses printed along the bottom of the skirt. The heirs looked it up and down. It's perfect. I know, right? Now, to get you heels, black ones to go with that. What? But Weiss, you said we were just getting a dress today. Weiss! Blake sat in her room, her laptop cradled in her lap, her head resting against the wall. It was about 2 a.m., and she had a human rights essay due tomorrow. She hadn't meant to leave it to the last minute, it just sort of happened. Gosh, I wonder why. Pierre was fast asleep on the other side of the room, so screaming in frustration wasn't an option. Aggressively tapping the keys, however, was something that she could do to relieve her stress. The quality of the words coming out, however, were almost left to chance. Maybe I should make another coffee. No, have coffee when I'm proofreading. I'll have time for that, right? She shifted her position slightly, flexing her right hand, and kept going. The third factor contributing to the timing of the Second Amendment of 1984 was a series of rallies at universities, the most notable example being at Shade Academy. Though the figures vary, generally it is agreed that between 800 and 1,100 students from Shade Academy took part in a mass protest against the immigration laws, with slogans such as "Stop the xenophobia" and "All people are equal, but some are more equal than others," a reference to George Orwell's novel Animal Farm, which was relevant because George Orwell also wrote 1984. I'm pretty sure that was a nice, what would that be called? Nice run-on sentence there. And it still hasn't ended. She yawned, grabbing a book sitting beside her, flipping through the tags she used her left hand to add a footnote. Now, what pages was all of that on? Wait, was the George Orwell stuff in the Smith book? It might have been the Smith book. She was interrupted from flicking through her notes by her phone vibrating and lighting up. She reached over to her pillow to grab it, reading the notification. Yang. Blake. Blake rolled her eyes, saved her essay, and typed a reply. Yang, it's 2 a.m. No, this is urgent, I swear. The frown is fond. Or frowned, question mark. I need a contact name for you. I'm torn between Bake and Bella Booty. Which one do you prefer? Seriously, Yang, it's 2 a.m. I'm writing human rights essay. Come on, which one? Blake grinned. Bake. It's a good pun. Yeah, but Bella Booty has a nice ring to it. Fine, Bella Booty then. Okay, what's my contact name? Yang? Blake, this is unacceptable! Or maybe I should do it. No, I'm not gonna make the joke. Okay, what do you want me to change it to? Her reply was lightning fast. The most swagalicious Yang-tastic with a winky face. Okay, you sleep, but I need to do this essay. But Blakey, can you wait like 8 hours, please? Pouts. Fine. Good night. Morning, lol. Good morning, Yang. Alright. And okay, we can skip through the art. It's literally unnecessary. Chapter 6, Dance, Magic, Dance. Okay, whatever. Blake stood up in the subway on the way to the masquerade. Her mask was held in her hand, a cat mask, quite plain, with a little silver embellishment. Around the time of the Vital Festival, it wasn't difficult to find these sorts of things at street-side vendor shops. Her bow was, of course, securely covering her other pair of ears. I still can't get over how amazing your dress is, Yang grinned, lightly punching her girlfriend's shoulder, or how amazing you are in it. Blake rolled her eyes, hoping the heat rushing to her cheeks hasn't translated to color. It's just been sitting in the back of my cupboard, gathering dust. Last year, while browsing the little black dresses, there had been one she couldn't resist, just coming to her knee. It was a matte material with long sleeves and a turtleneck. It hadn't been hard to dress up. Just a messy bun updo and some silver earrings borrowed from Pyrrha. Yang shrugged. You look great, seriously. The fauness looked away, a small smile playing on her lips. Thank you, you too. It was true. Yang's fiery orange dress from her year 12 formal suited her perfectly. They stood opposite each other. The moment might have been romantic, if not for 3 minor details. They were on a subway. Even if it was pretty empty, it was still a subway. Blake still had a bit of a study hangover, and Ruby was there. I didn't write the numbers. I didn't say the numbers, but I don't think that matters. Yang's sister had never ridden the subway in heels, and being someone who hadn't yet mastered the art of not stumbling whenever whenever the train stopped, this was proving rather difficult and potentially destructive. Whoa! Blake looked up as Ruby half fell on. Propped her back up onto her feet, smiling. You okay? Ruby blinked, regaining her bearings, clutching the silver medal. Fine, thanks. Yang rolled her eyes. I knew those heels were a bad idea. Well, they definitely weren't my idea, Ruby retorted with a hint of a sigh. Blake shrugged. You'll be glad everyone isn't an extra head taller than you when we get there. The guy's gaze flicked between the three of them. Then he smiled, outstretching one hand towards Ruby. Flint. She hesitated, then removed one hand from the silver pole she was holding, taking his. Ruby. He smiled, giving a mock bow. Pleasure to meet you. And you two are? I'm Yang, and this is Blake. Are you from Vale? No, I'm a proud Atlesian. He grinned, then hesitated. Well, proud of most things. Blake watched, both amused and in awe, as Flint and Yang proceeded to make conversation. 100% hitting it off. And what do you do, Mr. Totally Not Totally Proud of Alice? Me, I'm an artist, a musician, jazz trumpet, stride piano. Ooh, very smooth. And you? Hairdressing. I'd recommend our salon to you, though your hair looks pretty fabulous as is. Why, thank you, miss. And where would you be going tonight? It was Blake who responded. The Schnee Masquerade. Flint's expression changed instantly. His eyes became cold, his posture suddenly stiff. Oh. He didn't talk to them again. He got out 3 stops later. Blake stood at a table near... Sorry, just thinking about some of the stuff that's coming up. It's making me laugh already. Okay. Blake stood at a table near a bowl of punch surveying the ballroom. Weiss's family had a freaking ballroom. The house was magnificent. High ceilings, ornamented rooftops. It reminded Blake of every period drama she'd ever read. Yang was with Weiss and Ruby, talking to the snowy-haired barista. The three of them had been at the place for about 3 hours now. Most of the time, Weiss had been preoccupied talking to guests as they came in at her father's side. Ruby and Blake had spent a lot of time chatting. Ruby had gone on a log while Blake had convinced Ruby to watch She and Her Cat, a very short anime guaranteed to make anyone cry. Sorry. And a couple of times, Ruby had subtly pulled out Pokemon Go. Blake may or may not have followed suit upon finding out there was a Charmeleon nearby. All in all, from a distance, they looked calm and friendly. As far as anyone else could tell, they could have totally been talking about politics or schoolwork. Anyone who came a few feet closer would have quickly discovered that they were total they were total nerds. Overwatch and anime and Pokemon Go. All right. Most people there, adults, were engaged in quiet conversation. There was a rather rowdy group of guys, probably her age, and way off, coming in. She'd heard snippets of their conversation. They seemed nice enough, though a little drunk. Across the room about 10 minutes ago, she'd heard a collective shout of reliable with the ladies. She'd go talk to them later when Yang was with her. Are you one of Weiss's friends? Blake turned around suddenly to find Mr. Schnee walking up to her, his expression a perfect poker face, slightly obscured by a fairly transparent purple butterfly. I hate your guts, but hopefully you have no idea, smiles. Everyone knew about Schnee and company's less than reputable treatment of Faunus. Yes, I am, Blake Belladonna. He gave a brief nod. Pleased to make your acquaintance. You know, I never thought that Weiss would make friends with someone older than herself. We work together on a weekly basis, sir, Blake replied. Ah, of course, I had forgotten. I take it you attend Beacon. What is it that you do? Psychology, human rights, and literature. Winter did an arts degree also, though she did it in Atlas and combined it with law and political science. Uh, hmm? Psychology then. Do you intend to be a clinical psychologist? Blake almost spat out her punch, tempted to laugh. No, sir, with all due respect, I doubt I could stand listening to other people's problems, even if I got paid for it. I'm more interested in neuroscience, and I'm doing a research paper on the psychology of racism. Sure, it's a good paper right there. With that, he moved away. That was awkward. Yeah, then Yang was suddenly at her side. Hey, girlfriend. For the second time, Blake nearly spat out her punch. Hopefully Yang would think her face was bright red. Her face being bright red is due to her nearly choking. It wasn't. Yang, I love you, but this is not the place for flirting. Fine. Hey, want to talk to the cute guys? Yang, we're in a relationship if you hadn't noticed. She shrugged. That doesn't mean they aren't cute. They're not cute. Besides, I'm like 50% sure they're gay. Blake followed her gaze, glancing back at the group that she'd spotted before. 3 guys, 2 girls, all probably in their early 20s. What makes you say that? The one with the freckles and the poofy hair and the ponytail? He totally likes the short guy. Freckles, wait, he's the one who came as a turtle. Yeah? But why? Just a feeling. Yang, the short one's talking to the one in the blue dress and they both got puppy dog eyes. Okay, the short one's bi then. Unless the freckled one's love is unrequited. No way, that'd be too sad. Fine, wait, what about the red dress? Oh, yeah, it looks like she likes the short one too. Damn, short one gets all the ladies and men. Not that man. Who? In the corner, Yeah, short one would be dead. Should we ask Weiss for their names? Yang grinned. Nah, let's just ship them from a distance for now. Freckles and Shorty are my OTP, no doubt. What? You and I aren't your OTP? Blake joked, nudging her in the ribs. I don't know, those 2 are pretty cute. Yang? The blonde rolled her eyes, moving to kiss Blake on the nose before remembering where they were, and butting her head against Blake's instead. Blake grinned. God, I can't stay mad at you. You know it, Bella Booty. Oh my God, why? You love it. I do not. She did. Yang just grinned at the floor, getting a glass of punch for herself. Blake adjusted her mask. Weiss and Ruby came over, but Blake couldn't help but marvel at Weiss's dress and mask. The dress was white to the floor with peacock feathers, real ones, trailing along behind her. A green-blue mask across her eyes. Are you 2 okay? Yeah, just shipping your family friends, probably. Yang grinned. Which ones? Yang gestured vaguely towards the other group. Freckles and Shorty. Ruby frowned at her. What? Blue dress and Shorty are adorable. Blake raised an eyebrow at both of them. But red dress and Shorty. For Christ's sake, guys, my father would not appreciate it if we war over Alex. Shorty, Alexander, took Blue's dress hand, grinning. Ruby grinned smugly. Told you so. Ha, your ship has sunk. Yang affectionately punched her sister in the jaw. Softly, Ruby grinned and slapped her hand, then turned to Blake. So, this song is catchy. I hear it's popular and really good for dancing. Blake paused for a moment, then her eyes lit up. She doubled over laughing. Yang followed suit, both of them unable to breathe. They'd look at each other, stop, then crack up again. Ruby frowned, glancing at Weiss, pride and prejudice. The heiress hesitated. You know what? Probably. Blake was about to clarify that yes, it was in the Lizzie Bennett Diaries, episode 33, 2 minutes and 12 seconds in. But before she got the chance, Yang grabbed her hand and practically dragged her onto the dance floor. Butterflies twisted in the pit of Blake's stomach at the sudden contact at Yang's hand suddenly on her waist. Yang was grinning, though her movements were a little tentative. Too gay for a Schnee masquerade? Blake glanced over her shoulder at Weiss, who glanced at Ruby, then pointed at Winter and gave her a thumbs up. Blake understood about 50% of whatever complex message Weiss was trying to communicate, but the general gist seemed to be the gay dancing is all good despite my right-wing father. Now we're Yang. Weiss literally snapped into place. Oh, Weiss was dancing with Winter to make Yang and I look less out of place, being the same gender. And Ruby wouldn't be offended since she wouldn't want to dance with anyone beyond dabbing repeatedly or something. The fawn is blinked, glancing over at Weiss again. Smart kid. Oh my god. Now, to say Blake and Yang had improved their swing dancing skills since their intense Pride and Prejudice quoting in the rain would be an understatement. They were masters, goddamn prodigies. At least they like to think so. Except that this was a slow dance. Yang was leading a waltz, and Blake didn't really understand. All she knew was that she really wanted to kiss her girlfriend really badly, but she couldn't. Or at least rest her head on Yang's shoulder just to hear the blonde's breath catch. It always did when that happened. Yang was gazing at her, that devious smirk she always seemed to wear when they were dancing plastered across her face. Thankfully, being a slow dance, Yang couldn't surprise the already adrenaline-pumped fawness by suddenly dipping her down super low or anything crazy. She leaned in. Hey, Blake? Platonic dancing is weird. Yep. Mind if we move off? This is awkward. Fabulous, but awkward. We can't. I know, agreed. With that, they subtly moved off the side, their hands platonically interlinked. Yep, 100% platonically. They went over to a table with a variety of cakes to platonically enjoy some food. Ruby walked wobbling a bit over to them. A slice of the richest chocolate cake Blake was pretty sure she'd ever lay eyes on already on a plate held in her left hand. You guys okay? Yang nodded, squeezing her shoulder. Fine, just dialing down the gay a little. Also in light of Weiss and Winter dancing together, Shorty's dancing with Freckles. What? Yes. Blake frowned down at her own slice of cake, with a stinging feeling that her shipping desires would never be satisfied. Only 40 more minutes of overhearing painfully right-wing racist homophobic conversation and trying not to be as gay as she was normally around Yang. She cast the sisters sideways glance as a large shout went up at the front of the hall. Hey, back off, calm down. Then Winter's voice. You're not welcome here, Bronwyn. When it came out of Winter's mouth, the word peasant probably would have worked quite nicely as a substitute on the end of the phrase. Ruby and Yang attempted to peer over the heads of the other guests, Yang being more successful than her sister by a mile, but a good few inches. Bronwyn? Winter, I love you, but we have good reason to believe people worse than Mead want to occupy these premises at the very moment. The phrase, I love you, was clearly communicated that he disliked Winter a lot, and had for a while. His tone was hard, and his speech was a little slurred. Crow, you're drunk. Go home. Well, with zero warning, Ruby leapt onto Yang's shoulders. Uncle Crow? Weiss frowned. What Uncle Crow? Crow, Bronwyn, and Winter Schnee had been rivals in Winter's first year of uni, and Crow's last one. But Crow having a connection to Ruby was a new development. He's a cop. I wonder what he's doing here. Crow raised an eyebrow, eyes narrowed into slits. I'm always drunk, and you know it, but I swear to God. By this point, Weiss's father had crossed the room in the most stately manner one can while one's daughter is verbally assaulting an officer who is wearing a cape of all things. Is there a problem, sir? He asked, his steely glare suggesting that there really wasn't one, and if there was, he didn't care to know. Crow Bronwyn narrowed his eyes. Sir, if you value the safety of bang, and since we've been doing this for almost 30 minutes, yeah, that's where we're gonna end it. So we have to wait till next time to see what the end of this, or what the end of what's currently available has to bring. So yeah.